what I would like to do now is to open the floor to questions from the audience. Maybe you can address your question to a speaker, or if it's a general question, maybe I can direct it to one of the speakers to answer it, or I will answer it. Maria, how would you like to do this?
Well, if somebody has a question and they would like to share it, and they don't mind speaking and being recorded, just raise your hand and let us know.
I think Jerome. Yeah, Jerome.
Jerome?
Yes, I have a few comments, and they're to different speakers. One, certain Syriac manuscripts have marginal readings, and sometimes they are comments, sometimes they're alternatives, and I would like somehow to that material to be incorporated in this system. And let's see, what else have I got here? I can't hardly read it. I had a bad pen. I had a question on also tagging. Tagging, especially of verbs. I think they should, if you tag them by root, the root should reflect somewhat the reality, like ayin lamed lamed for me would be a root for to enter, not just ayin lamed. Or if you take a third week, is it historically a yod, a vav, or an aleph? And it would be good to distinguish that if you're talking about roots. Let's see. And also, like for someone searching something, it would be nice to have linguistic tagging or language tagging, like you say. Let's say the infinitive plus or imperative. My dog wants to get in. And you know, and I really appreciated everyone's contribution. It's somebody, maybe the only one here that actually existed in pre-computer times. It's really wonderful with all the advances made, and I certainly thank you all for your contributions. Let's see if I have anything else here. I have other things I cannot decode anymore. I was a poor scribe. Yeah, but anyway, also this issue of citations in Syriac, I would say authors have reworked many biblical citations to fit into their sermonic work or teaching work. So a citation is not really a biblical citation necessarily, but it could be integrated into what they want to do in their sermon or their preaching style. So the issue of citation, it's just is problematic, but would be useful too. Yeah, that's basically what I have to say for now.
Thank you very much, Jerome. I will answer the marginalia question, and then maybe Slavo can say something about the tagging. So in terms of marginalia, when we type texts that have lots of marginal stuff, the transcribers usually, after the paragraph or after they type the page, they start a tag and they say margin, and then they put the text of the margin. This way you will find it when you search, and you will know it is in the margin, but it is not currently, and I don't know if it will ever be, kind of exactly tagged to the actual phrase within the page, because we're not producing a critical edition. Basically, we're trying to get you to find the texts somewhere, and then you can work with them. So at least at the level of the page, if there is stuff in the margin, we are transcribing it and putting it in a margin tag. Slavo, do you want to say something about the tagging and the roots?
Yes, of course, but I want to address the margin thing as well. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah. So we have those included under the text types. I need to talk to the people in Button about this whole thing, because it's not text types, it's actually metadata. Maybe I can change it myself. I'll have to figure it out. So there is, as you can see, a lot of data on the margin. So they're typically associated with pages, as George said. And one of the things that I will be working on besides the NLP is improving the visibility of the metadata right in the text. So you'll be able to also see if there is a margin associated with a particular age right away, and get all the information about that, about this particular margin. Now, as for tagging, Jerome is absolutely right about, well, just about everything. As for roots, I do agree with that, with your suggestion about Ain Lamed Lamed. The question is, to what extent do we want to? The question is always to what extent is root an actual thing, and to what extent it is a sort of a abstraction. So for third week verbs, of course, there has to be some diachronic historical linguistic work done by the taggers to kind of figure out what the third consonant is. But what about the four consonantal roots? You know, how far down the rabbit hole do we want to go? What about Greek borrowings? Do we assign roots to them as well? Because to some extent they behave as if they had roots. I mean, this is an issue that I'm very familiar with. Most of my linguistic work is on Maltese, which is a Semitic language, but there's a lot of Romance words in it, and sometimes it really does treat the consonantal cluster that it gets from Italian as a root. You know, giornata, the Italian word for day, has a plural in Maltese, ġranet, like in Arabic. So yeah, all those are very good points, and sort of Stolpersteine on the way to proper linguistic annotation. And of course, once we are done with the description of how we want to annotate Simtho, we will publish the preliminary paper, and everybody can comment on this. And I would definitely welcome comments like yours, because there's about to be things we forget or ignore.
Thank you so much, Slavo. Sargon Hasso. Sargon and I go way back, from Unicode days to even before Unicode, when we put together. Sargon is one of the co-authors of Syriac Unicode. So you have to thank him every time you type a Syriac letter and somebody else can read that same letter and not any other letter. You've got to thank Sargon. Go ahead, Sargon.
Thank you, George. So I have a question to Michael. I think Michael was talking about the corpus statistics. I'm curious if it's still around. If not, I'll ask it anyway. Maybe I'll have an offline conversation. I was curious. Obviously, he did a lot of analysis on entities. Wondering how was he able to have the text annotated so he can extract the name entities in the text so he can do his analysis. That I'm just curious how he did that. And obviously the work that that you're doing, Slavo, that should, and I think someone asked a question, that will definitely help with annotation and tagging.
Michael Penn, do you want to take that?
You know, what I did was, oh, sorry, I'm getting some feedback here. What I did was crazily crude. That is just using Simtho to figure out what was the relative frequency of individual words within the Timothy corpus, the same words within the larger Simtho corpus, in a short Python code just to go through the spreadsheet and show which ones are being overly represented. So again, part of both my embarrassment, but in some ways, perhaps strength of the presentation is to show what one could do with Simtho 2.0 and an extra 3 hours. So again, that didn't require anything more than what was already available in 2.0, and most of it being automated. I'm not sure if, does that address your question? So there wasn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
physically
actually,
like
it's
a
pretty
near
good that
recognition or the like.
it's impressive at this level. You're telling me you haven't done a lot, yet you were able to produce these relationships.
Right.
And discovery of insights from a text that is not heavily annotated and data enriched further with metadata. But that's great. I mean, that's maybe another suggestion, George, to Simtho. If there's, with the additional enhancement that some of this text should or could be annotated, potential, because you already have this in the other databases that Syriaca.org has a lot of that data is there. So that could be, potentially could be a source for additional data enrichment for individual tokens or words within text. It would help work like Michael's, makes it easier for him. Identify name of cities and relationships and geographical locations, or maybe events, person names, etc.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good suggestion. Slavo, you have a comment on this?
Yeah, I do. That is exactly what I was talking about, what I meant when I was talking about semantic enrichment. So named entities are actually kind of insanely easy. Basically, you just have a list of names with some sort of variation. You make sure they collocate with the proper things, and there you go. But I think the major learning point from what Michael said was, at least for me, how powerful the no-sketch engine already is. To what all you can extract out of it, even without serious annotation. And just imagine how even more powerful it will be when we add more annotation, because essentially the whole system is built in a way where basically adding another level of annotation means just adding another column in a table, and this can be done almost literally ad infinitum. I think there's a hard limit, like something like 256,000 columns or something along those lines, but that's basically ad infinitum for us humans, right?
I mean, the other thing I'd highlight, because I didn't do it for my presentation, but one of my graduate students does it, that's again incredibly quick and effective right now because of Sketch Engine, is in terms of collocations. It's actually much easier to do collocations, that is to see other words that are overrepresented in the context of a target word, than even it is on more sophisticated databases like the TLG. That Sketch Engine is wonderful for that. And though I haven't done that from the analysis I shared today, that's also something that's already out of the box that Simtho is primed for, and literally takes 3 seconds, what otherwise would have taken months.
George, I have another question. It's kind of selfish. Is Scriptorium
Yes.
server, is that available for use for other than your project? And we can talk talk offline. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'll give access.
I'll give a short answer. It is available if you already have something scanned. If you don't, I will be very happy if you provide me with a PDF or the images. I'll run it on my own machine. The thing is that the server that Simtho and Scriptorium currently run on is relatively cheap, and so it's not that powerful. And we're looking forward, we're looking towards like obtaining more, a more powerful machine. So
what's the I mean, Transcribus, they do tell you it takes a long time to. I'm not sure what is the level of complexity, how much, let's say you have let's say 100-page text after training and so on. How long does it take? Does it take hours, or is it just
it would take hours upon hours of the server that we have. I have a relatively old machine that has like a simple gaming GTX GPU that's, I don't know, 6 years old, something like that. 100 pages would take approximately 10 minutes tops.
But
yeah, as John
John
in the comment says, yes, you can also install it on your own machine, although it takes a bit of finicking. I mean, on Windows, you need to install Docker Desktop. On Linux, it comes with Docker, and you have to deal with it in like
Training though,
practice
training.
every way.
Training is the one that's time consuming. How long does it take?
Oh, training typically takes hours. Yes, for 100 pages
Okay.
it would. Last time I did a training, it was 100 pages. It took approximately 7 to 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah,
And
Because
somebody
there's a
like you, Sargon, you can download the stuff like Kraken and on your own machine, and you can run that stuff locally. I mean, that's what Slavo did when he
Yeah.
processed hundreds and hundreds
Right.
of pages.
Yeah, it just is the
And
takes hours.
if anybody has a
there's a
If you don't
question
have a
about
powerful,
this,
yeah, if you don't have
there's
a
a
powerful
faster and more
GPU-based
convenient way
machine,
to
yeah.
do this.
if anybody has a
faster and
question
more
about this, I mean,
convenient-
contact me. Go ahead. Feel free to do that.
There's a faster and more convenient way to do this,
Daniel, go
especially
ahead.
if you work with especially if you work with large training sets, because Escriptorium does not compile the data, and the training time increases credibly with very large data sets. But if you work in Kraken, so if you export your data and work directly in Kraken, Kraken has a compile function, and it pre-compiles the image and text files together into a binary file. You can train a corpus of any size, and it's a question of minutes.
Okay.
Just the compilation takes some time.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone else?
And in principle, you can run Kraken on a Google Colab.
On a what?
You
If
mean
you on a Colab, on a Google Colab. If you're doing it every day, they will shut you off. But you can install it in Kraken there. It's not very convenient, but it does.
yeah, okay. I'll give it a try. Thank you.
Atul.
Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. I was very impressed by the work of everyone that they presented, especially Michael and Lasoli. I'm sorry to pronounce it. Slawomir. It was a great job. I was trying to do, because I know, because the goal is we need to have a dictionary, correct? It's a dictionary that can tell us the right writing or spelling of the word. That's how we need in something like a spell check. That's my goal. I was doing it. I tried with the same that you were doing, with those all different kind of analysis that you made it. I tried to do on a paratext. I tried to do paratext from SIL, and it did a really good job. I didn't continue, but I was thinking, maybe we can. There is already a software out there. It can help us with the paratext. We can create something called spell check. We will do the root, the morpheme, and so on. The only things we need to upload the text on it. I did, like, for example, the dictionary of Martuma Odu and a few books of the, I did also upload it on it Pshita. So when you compare it, it was great. You have just to do the beginning to train what's the root of the verb and what's the morpheme and what's your preposition, and it will do it for you. The same thing that you are doing, I know, but in different programs. But I was just letting you know that it is possibility. I have seen it and I've done it, but I did not finish it, of course, because it takes a long time. And thank you for whatever you do.
Thank you very much, Atul. Any other questions or comments? If not, we can finish early. Jovian.
Hi, first of all, thank you all. This was incredibly informative and very exciting to see. I just have a question for Slavo about what exact processes or algorithms or tools you're using to do the machine learning for the lemmatization, and also if you thought about implementing rules-based lemmatization, or if it's kind of machine learning all the way.
Actually, I have thought about at least plugging in some sort of paradigmatic analysis. We're at the very beginning, so there's basically two options here. Just a straight up PyTorch based, neural network, all that nonsense stuff. That's one of the ways to go, using one of the standard platforms for morphological analysis. The other way would be, there's a wonderful dictionary of Arabic that's of course based on what's his book called. There's transcription and stuff like that. That's done in Haskell. Haskell's been pretty good for morphological analysis. So I've been playing with that a little bit. It seems to work decently, as in, more than chance at this point. But yeah, it's going to be a combination of these two things. We're not far enough yet. What seems to also be helping a lot is the word vector analysis. So kind of if you start with like your very basic continuous bag of words, word vectors, and plug it into that, it does improve the percentage a little bit, but we need more training data and better training data. In that context, I don't know if Vito van Persen is here, but he has a project in Amsterdam working on exactly this kind of thing. He recently published a paper on that where he also did transfer learning from Hebrew, which is a pretty good idea. He just used the Cedra data, has had some success with that. So that's also something I would like to use at one point in the future, because right now it's all basically just data engineering and annotating data.
Thank you. That's really helpful. I look forward to seeing it develop.
Drop me a line if you wanted to have a discussion about this later.
Thank you. I very well might.
All right.
Thank you. Next is Sonia.
Right. Hello, everybody. I'm thankful for all the information. I was in a seminar with Transcriptus this week and found that it's very difficult for me as a total newcomer to this kind of work, and too much time would be needed for me to get my Arabic manuscript text into the system that I can work with. So one question is your software, your system, easier to handle for a newcomer? The second question is, would you provide some training?
That I think is best answered by Daniel, I think.
Yeah, Sonia, if you're working in Arabic material, I can best put you into contact with the OpenITI group. So they have people in London and as me too in a European time zone, but many of them obviously are in the US. So the London people or the US people probably can do a tutorial. There is a learning curve because you can do very complex things. I think the most complex thing is obviously segmentation correction, because you can have text, and I mean humans are so creative how to put text anywhere on an object. So lines can be curved, and they can be on the head, they can be vertical, and they can be in a zigzag, and they can have a spiral. And obviously such complex things you need to get with the skills like in a drawing program. On the other hand, I think for exactly this, the scriptorium interface is much more ergonomic than the one from Transcribus. And the rest is very easy. Transcribing is very easy. Transcription correction is very easy. And the people from OpenITI are very, very, very experienced with anything that has to do with Arabic script manuscript. So I'll be happy to put you into contact. If you put your email in the chat, and then or if you send it to me, I can establish the connection.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I'm currently in the US, so a US contact.
Oh, even easier. Even easier then.
Any other questions or comments?
Hey, George, this is
Hi,
Nasir.
Go ahead, Nasir.
Do you have plans to do the manuscripts that are available in for example, the Mangana collection, Vatican's, the British Museum, any or selections of important ones?
So basically, we work with authors and their texts, and when there is a published book, we scan the published book.
Okay.
And there are some works that have not been published yet, and this is where we go to manuscripts. But you know, a certain text could exist in 10 manuscripts, in 15 manuscripts. We usually will only select one manuscript to represent that text, so at least we have something. So we don't have a plan to go and OCR all manuscripts, because then the text will just be duplicated. It will not be beneficial. But our aim is to have at least one version, be it a scholarly edition or a manuscript, of every known text. That's the plan. Now, currently we got to a stage where, as far as we know, we have included most of the scholarly works. We've done them by collections, as I have explained earlier. At this point, we are relying on people to tell us you missed this or you missed that, so that we can go and do it. The only large collection that we have not done, which will be in the next release, is we have not done liturgical books published by churches, and also books, let's say non-scholarly books, you know, a book, a modern poet writer, or things published by communities, not by academic presses. We have most of these books in Beth Mardutho. We are scanning them now. Those will be in the next release. Then there is also, Michael mentioned the magazines. Once those are done, then there is nothing systematic that we can go and do. We will be only waiting on people to say, how about this text? How about that text? Because we would have done most of it. Of course, you know, you and I are working on the archive project. Yes. You know, archives could be another thing that we can add to the corpus. But more or less, we've covered a good chunk. I think you could argue by now that it is extremely unlikely that the Syriac corpus may hit more than 25 million words. We are at 16.8. Once we do the liturgies and the other stuff, we will probably hit over 20. If you do the unpublished stuff, you may hit 25. Unlikely you will hit 30,000. That's at least my estimate. But who knows? Okay. There could be hidden things that we're not aware of.
Thanks. Good job. By the way, I'm late to this, but I can see the work and interest in it.
Thank you so much. And what we love about this project is that it brings together both scholarship and the heritage communities. We're you know, we have people interacting us from you know, the Syriac and the Assyrian and the Chaldean communities. This type of projects brings academia and the heritage communities together.
Thank you.
I think Daniel has something to say.
Yes, Daniel.
I think another important corpus would be the inscriptions. And then I would dare to disagree with what you just said and say it would be very easy and relatively straightforward to for all those editions which are based on one manuscript, to transcribe the manuscript behind it. And from this, to empower the scriptorium to transcribe untranscribed manuscripts. This would involve a very little amount of time of human beings, mainly machine time. But then people interested in untranscribed materials would have a very good model to speed up the process to transcribe all the naughty stuff. And lectionaries. Western Syriac lectionaries. Every document is different. This is boring to work on if you transcribe them, but once you have them transcribed, it's the most fascinating corpus, because then you can talk about influences of one community on another community. So for exactly liturgical sources, on the ground, the small differences on the manuscript level may be more important than the linguistic interaction with one example of every text, because then you can study the flux of ideas, how to implement the liturgy in one place and another place to get to the these, and obviously then from there to the archives also.
And maybe one can think of just carrying on that, if one if the images are available, of course, and many libraries are now digitizing their images, would be maybe to transcribe by machine these images, and one can build another corpus for that purpose. They don't all have to sit in the same corpus as we've seen. When I start, I chose launch 3 or launch 2. There could be another corpus in Sketch Engine that or even raw data that people can use for other purposes, that will have maybe the multiple texts from multiple manuscripts and whatnot. So it can go that too. Sargon, you have something to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that's actually a very good point, because we only focus because of the availability of written text, but there's also a spoken text, a spoken language that we have actually tremendous, I think, a library on YouTube and what have you. So that perhaps because I know Nizari's work, Matthew, he did some work of that, transcribing text, voice to text. He trained on a small sample, actually, and he was able to get really good results. Imagine if we train it on a larger spoken text. So that becomes another source of text that could potentially add to the size of this corpus. Someone did, I don't know, some unrealistic, it seems like outrageous counting. They said on average, people speak 16,000, I don't know, words a day. Let's say you work in a meeting, So he said, imagine, for English speakers of 400 million people, and do the math. So it's a tremendous. The spoken words are more than basically, I think it dwarfs the written text. So that's some new source that maybe one area of George I would suggest, or focus on that area. How can we capitalize on that? Because the underlying technology, as Daniel would know, and it's pretty much the same, right? In machine translation or transcription, it's really the same technology, pretty much. So it's just your input is different, the output is pretty much the same.
Yeah. And the folks who work on Neo-Aramaic would love to have such a corpus of spoken languages, and they can start comparing Nena Assyrian Aramaic with Turoyo with I mean that adds a whole new dimension to this. So something like this would be great. Slavo?
Yeah, we already actually begun to collect old written data in Neo-Aramaic. the 19th century mission for in what is it, Urmia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those people, yeah. And there have been attempts recently. I'm in touch with some of the people on Reddit, like a bunch of young folk who work with Geoffrey Khan, who claim to have developed a text-to-speech or speech-to-text, I don't know which one,
Yeah,
engine
that's Matthew.
for
That's Matthew.
probably, yes. The problem here is that the underlying technology may be the same, but this is not about the technology. It is largely about data collection and data engineering. So, in all of this work, about 5% of it was some sort of NLP related stuff. All the rest was collecting the data, curating the data, making sure it is in the proper format, and still it isn't complete. So the one thing to highlight here would be the role of people like Simtho Lab, of people like Michael and Eva, and of this still may be this may be a the most visible aspect about this is the whole computational part, but there's still people behind it, and those people still need to have jobs. Those people still need to be paid, and especially goes for people at Simtho Lab. So all these ideas sound wonderful, except we need money to do all of that. And to some extent, this project relies on volunteers. God knows I am one. And if you want to expand, if you want to take it ad astra and beyond, that's exactly where our main problem or main obstacle at the moment lies.
And I mean, it is really to the credit of all the volunteers and even the fellows that come in the summer. We have some support for them, but it's mediocre support. I mean, it's not much that they get out of it financially. They're really doing it because they want to do it. And a lot of our students who come in the summer sometimes stay with us to volunteer to do these things. This is not the result. What you see is not the result of European Union funding. This is not the result of NEH governmental funding. This is really all grassroots work, mostly. So it is really thanks to all the individuals who've done it. Maybe we can take one more and then we can call it a day, if there is one more. Okay.
Sonja had a question. I think I saw her, but then she lowered her hand. I don't know if she's still with us.
Who's that?
Sonja.
Sonia did ask her question already.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much again for joining us. And I'll pass it back to you, Sabine.
Well, thank you all for these wonderful presentations. They've been absolutely amazing, and it's fantastic what you have achieved. And I think we all look forward to see the next step in this wonderful development. And over to Maria.
It has been interesting to see how much Simtho has grown and moved from the earlier versions to what you have now, which is not the end of the road. I mean, it's still growing. But I do have to say that what has impressed me the most is the collaboration in between all the people who have joined us, or most of the people who have joined us in this conversation. It's become, the sharing of knowledge and the sharing of willingness, which hopefully will push it forward, George. And thank you for being the famous George Kiraz, who is showing up everywhere and and keeping up marching.
Thank you, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed the Simtho tutorials. Our Simtho Lab team in the Middle East continues manually correcting OCR'd text to give you access to more accurate texts. The Simtho Lab operation is entirely supported by donations, and it provides young men and women in the Middle East with much needed employment during a time of local crisis. Our project also promotes pride in their heritage as workers contribute to promoting their own culture.